Welcome back to KickBack. My name is Ben Strasser, and we are proudly presented by CMHA, Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk. I am now joined by Lynda. Lynda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
I met you randomly at the Beats and Eats Festival in downtown Brantford, where you were sharing your beautiful art.
Oh, thank you.
And I was just so impressed with what you create, but more so why you create, and where that comes from. Can you share a little bit about that?
Certainly. So I'm a mother of three. I lost my baby October 31st, 2023, due to complications of type 1 diabetes. I hadn't really picked up art for a long, long time, but the way I started healing and getting back into some kind of process was by picking up the paintbrush again 8 months after her death. And what I was expecting was nothing but darkness and dismal artwork, and not expecting this fabulous, sort of like colorful, brilliant pieces.
Very vibrant.
Very vibrant. Yeah. And so I decided at that point before picking up the paintbrushes that I didn't want to really have anything in mind of what I wanted to paint, but I had gone on YouTube and watched things like intuitive painting, and I thought I'm really going to give that a try because I'd never done that before. When I first started painting, it was during COVID, and it was at a time where you couldn't really go hiking, and I'm a photographer, so I like to go out and take photographs and hike, and I was very limited. So I went on YouTube and I started painting, started off with flowers. And but then after Meghan passed, it was, it just had more meaning, and I just really needed something to keep my mind occupied. So what I would ultimately do is put music on when I painted, but I would clear my mind and it would just come to me naturally. So some days or sometimes a painting would take maybe a week. Other times I'd be surprised and find that it took hours. And it would just blow me away when you look back and you think, is it finished? Have I done enough? Do I add this? Do I add that? But intuitively it always told me that this is it. This is the piece that you need to present. So so Beats and Eats was my first sort of introduction to my paintings, and the reception was great.
What was the reception when people approached your tent?
It was a very positive experience, which oddly enough, I felt really confident about telling my story about Meghan, and the whole pieces, they're called Since You've Been Gone. That was sort of like, the first piece I did was huge. It was like 30 by 40.
Wow.
Never done anything like that before. And it was very bright, and it just had Meghan all over it. So telling people the story, grieving through art, is what I called it. But the paintings in the collection that I was doing was called Since You've Been Gone. Meaning, this is what I've created, Meghan, since you left me, right? And so people were really receptive to the whole idea. And then I had a picture of Meghan and myself, so I could talk to people proudly and memorably about her, and say her name, which is really important. And people were very receptive. And you got a lot of condolences and things like that, but also at the next event, which is what you had organized and asked me to be a part of, which I was very proudly able to do that and looking forward to it. The reception there was the same, but it was a different crowd of people. And I think it was because there was more people there was people from out of town, and they were with friends. So I ran into artists that had gone through the whole process of grief, losing a husband, a spouse, not necessarily a child, but someone who, was very important to them, and they loved them and missed them. And they were artists, and they just gave it up completely. And so when they saw my work and heard my story, they were so inspired by that they were going to go back home, start getting their supplies, and starting to pick it up again. So I think if anything, if I helped people out that way, I'm very humbled by that. because that wasn't my intention. It was just, this is the path it's taken me, so.
Well, what a beautiful legacy to be creating
Yes.
actively for Meghan.
Yes.
Right? To be able to inspire through her life, she's inspiring your paintings, which then are in turn inspiring other people that are navigating grief, which I believe is like one of the, if not the hardest, one of the hardest things that we as humans have to go through, is losing loved ones. And I can't imagine the loss of a child and how difficult that would be, and how you've turned such a difficult thing into something so beautiful. And we're going to have some of your paintings popped up during this interview.
Oh, lovely. Thank
to be able to show that off, because I think they're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
But what does that mean for you to be able to have Meghan live on through this art?
Oh my goodness, it's very hard to put into words. It's not something that I had expected at all. And very proud of the work. Never expected to get the response that I've received. Meghan is a part of all of that. So that I can see her shining through every piece. And if you notice on every piece, there's her initial, M. Yeah. And that's just random, but it's just slotted in there at some point while doing the paintings. Yeah. But if I can share those with other people that are, excited about how it developed, how it all began, and they can share that story with other people, then I think I've done my due diligence as far as keeping her memory alive, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, well, and I think that so many people struggle with the loss, but don't necessarily find an outlet or take the step to be able to begin like the healing journey. Yes. That they, I mean, ideally should go on, right? Yeah. And they can get stuck in just the darkness of loss.
Yeah, and being stuck is okay, because grief is a long journey. It's only been 2 years since she passed. And she passed away on October 31st, like Halloween of all days. Yeah. That was her favorite holiday. Right. So we're left with all of those memories. But it is a long time, and there's podcasts that I've picked up on, like Mel Robbins with David Kessler, who lost his son at 21. And it's just nice to get different perspectives of how other people are handling things, but not to beat yourself up, because there's times where you feel you can't pick yourself up off the floor. And what is my purpose here? Right. And so, it's beneficial, I think, personally. Like if you go to Stedman Community Hospice, many people may not know about it, but they have a bereavement program for one-on-one and group sessions. And I went to 4 groups, and I found that very beneficial, because this is before I picked up the painting again, was that it educated me and let me know that I was not going crazy. Right. I was not going insane. This is what grief is, and you have to go through it, you have to feel it, and you have to do whatever makes you, whole again, which will never happen, because I'll never be the same person that I was before Meghan passed.
Right, and the absolute worst thing that you could possibly do is suppress.
Exactly.
Suppress those feelings. You need to sit with them and feel them. Yes. To be able to navigate.
Yes, absolutely.
Those emotions.
Yeah, and the bereavement counseling, like the program, was quite good. As I said, it was like interesting to hear other people's stories. But when I was there, like I just had a meltdown. Yeah. I was like on my knees crying and just telling the story, and it was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going crazy. But everybody there had experienced the same thing. They'd just been going a little bit longer than me. Yeah. I'm just a newbie coming in and telling my story. Yeah. But I didn't think that I would be interested in a group therapy session. I had managed to continue on with Meghan's psychologist at St. Joe's in Hamilton, and he worked with me for about 6 months, would call me every day. And there was times I couldn't even talk. So it was like, yes, you know what the process is like. It's horrible. Also, I didn't know if I'd be able to go back to work, because I see a lot of death at work. And so we just had someone pass like last week. And it was like, how do I But, you know, you get through that because it's totally different than losing a loved one, right?
Totally.
And you have to be more professional and stuff like that. But I didn't know if I'd be able to do that again. But I've worked on it. It's going well.
I really appreciate you taking the time, Lynda, to come in and share Meghan's story and your story, and the fact that her beauty lives on and is shared with the world through your art is just wonderful. So thank you
so
for
much,
that.
Ben. I really appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
Thank you.